We just love it. It shows the life of the miner.
And through the magazine, that's the picture that's in the magazine.
Yes.
First of it.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And how was this? Was this a worker?
Yes.
He looks like a child.
He was very young. Yes.
So was that something common? I mean, what age would they start working?
The men would, a lot of times they would train young boys as chalk eyes. So they would take them in. He was probably a coal digger because he's got his helmet on. And coal digging was, of course, one of the most important jobs because they had to get the coal out. But he would bring a young boy with him as a chalk eye, and he was probably had been a chalk eye at one time. But the chalk eyes would, after the guy would, the coal digger would get the coal off the face of the mine, the chalk eye would load it onto the cars. So he was back there learning, and I'm sure the coal miner was teaching him and all that. So he was with him side by side. But yes, he's young, and he may have been a chalk eye at this time, but I'm thinking he was a coal digger. Here we show some of the equipment, the lanterns, of course, and then the carbide light on the helmets, and the water, and well, it has the food in it, and the buckets that they used, and of course this was their home gear. But some of the mines had wash houses there that they could wash before they went home, but some of them didn't, and of course the miners walked. They would walk from the mine to the home every night, and when they get there they'd be black and they'd have to get cleaned up. But that was just, you know, the way that, here's some of them dressed in their clothes, the way they looked back there when they mined. This goes back even before the coal mining history. This was at Clarktown Springs, and it was a hotel, a resort there, because the springs had, you know, the 7 springs, I believe is what it was, and people would go and sit in the springs, and they would come stay at the hotel. It was a hunting resort. It was cooler up here in the summer. A lot of the people that were rich, the main people in the mines, would send their families up here to stay during the summer. So that's what one of the resorts up here, and it burnt. But we do still have some of the houses out there, and that was one of our first fall tour, I believe, we did out at the Clarktown Springs. Okay, this is James Welch. He's the vice president of our historical society, and he has ancestors that were miners, and he has also helped us a lot in the historical society even before he was vice president. He actually built a coal mining cart that we have on display out at the Bondycroft School, but he also gave us a lot of these mining tools, and I'm going to let him just tell you what they were used for. James?
Well, a lot of this stuff in here is just basic tools like your broad axe, which they use to hew the cross ties with. The miner's pick down here that they use to dig the coal with. I've also got a track hammer that they use to work on the track in the coal mines. There's a railroad hammer, and if you look at you couldn't hardly get a close-up of it the way it's in the case, but they were real long, and the wooden handle, of course, and the object of those being so big was that if they were driving spikes and miss a spike, the hammer would come down and it would hit the tie before it hit the rail and wouldn't break the handle out. There's a gas explosion lamp in there that they could take back in the mines and light it, and if there was gas in the mines, it would explode inside the lamp and not blow the mine up. There's also a small lamp down here that they call a grease lamp, which the first miners used those. They put grease in them in a wick, and they just had like a little light on them like a candle. Then they graduated to the carbide lamps, which was better, and then in later years they went to the battery-powered wheat lamps. There's a 25-pound carbide can over there. I've seen them as big as 100-pound. There's a 2-pound can sitting down here in the case. Cross-cut saw up here, which they use to cut the timber, you know, to hew the cross ties for the railroad. They also had ties in the mines that they laid the track on.
Now, where did you guys come up with finding these tools?
Well, see, my grandfather was a coal miner, and my dad was a coal miner for about 25 years, and a lot of this stuff is handed down. The only thing I haven't brought out here yet is a mining auger. I need to bring an auger out here. But I've been collecting some of this stuff for years, and when One thing before Carol McIntosh gave this house to the Historical Society, when they was thinking about a museum, they came out to my house and looked at a lot of my stuff. I really wanted to buy it. Of course, none of mine's for sale. I like to show it off, and I brought this case out here, and I've got a lot more that eventually, well, I'll bring out and replace this, you know, where people can see it.
You guys, men and women alike, is part of this historical society, and bring some importance to some of the viewers that may be watching. Maybe some men who may be your age that might like to go back and get a piece of history like this and see some of these tools. There's not many places like this that's offered for free that you can actually see tools of this age and exactly what they use for. So what's some things that you might tell them to encourage them to come and actually look at some of this stuff?
Well, anybody my age and younger, you take your younger kids now, they've never seen this stuff. You know, they didn't know what coal was and things like that, you know, till they started all this. And this is a thing that this mountain is famous for. It was the only way of making a living back then. And what people don't realize is that a lot of our area, Eastland, Clifty, Bonaire, Ravenscroft, the houses was built, a lot of them built where they just had an alley between them. And anybody that's interested in any of the old tools and anything that's, you know, of historical value, they can pretty well see it here or in one of the other museums, you know, around White County. And I would really recommend it because, and even if they've got old tools, you know, we would just be happy to, they can put them out here on donation. They can loan them, they can donate them, or they can loan them to us. We keep a record of everything that's brought in, to whether it's given to us, you know, or whether it's loaned to us. If it's loaned to us, they can come back at any time and get it, you know, especially a lot of the family heirlooms that people don't want to get rid of. But anyway, I would recommend the museum to anybody.
Anything else you'd like to share with us before we leave?
Just that there's been a lot of hard work went into this, and these ladies have really done a lot of hard work to get all this together.
That's awesome. I mean, you took this a next level whenever several years ago when they was basically getting together the special Railroad Museum. Tell me just a little bit about this. This was a very nice magazine.
That is, Rich Pass of the Mountain is something that I published, the Sparta magazine published in anticipation of the Railroad Section House Museum at Bonaire. And it's filled with coal mining history and railroad history that was a big economic importance in our community back in the day, before 1936. And it's what started off with teachers trying to get a grant several years ago, 14, 15 years ago, has become something that tourists come to every year in May. And I grew up at Bonaire and never knew anything about coal mining history.
That's sad.
Until these teachers brought it out. And
was these teachers from Bonaire, by the way?
yes, they all. The story is right here. The story is in here.
From Bonaire. So
well, they taught at the school there.
Did they
at
originally come from Bonaire though?
I don't. I know. Let's see. Linda Mackey lives on the mountain, and Sherry Pack both live on the mountain. And then the other two are White County educators.
I see. So they sort of brought the interest to, hey, we got some history here, and we would like to make sure the rest of the community knows about it.
Yeah.
And so you had no idea. You had lived on Bonaire Mountain. You didn't really know the background to the coal mining and stuff like that.
Never had heard about it in school or anything, and until they brought it up, and they started a thing in May on a Sunday afternoon, what they called the Coal Miners Reunion.
Coal mining.
And you know, it's evolved, and now it's a yearly event, and it's the the Bon Air Historical Society's History Fair
I see.
at the school, and they do a tour every year. This year's tour will be through Bon Air, the Bon Air coal community. One year they'll go through Eastland, and one year they'll do Ravenscroft. So this upcoming
and
year.
is there 2 little communities up there? Or?
Oh, there's 3.
3 communities.
Well, really 4. There's Bon Air, Eastland, Clifty, and Ravenscroft. And the Bon Air Historical Society is a much better group to give you the information on that. But this was published in order to, well, to get out the coal mining history and to help generate funds for the Railroad House Museum up there.
I would just like to remind you that our museum is located on Highway 70 east of Bondycroft Elementary School. Our address is 9479 Highway 70, Sparta, Tennessee. Our phone number is 935-MINE. And we would like to remind you of our spring members only tour this year is April the 9th. And we're going to be doing a hiking tour again down under the mountain to the Bon Air mines. And then May 1st on Sunday is our big coal mine, our history fair. And we have our meal at noon, and it's from 1 to 5 is our history fair, and we'll be taking tour buses this year to Bon Air, and we just want to invite everyone to come out and be a part of it. It's a great day, especially if you have ancestors or family that was involved in the coal mining, but it's a great day for anybody. We have people that have moved into the community that just love this day. So come and join us and be ready for a good time.